Robert Fitton, hanged November 21st, 1956. At around 12:06 a.m. on Wednesday, November 21st, 1956, Robert George Fitton, a 22-year-old father of 3 young children, was hanged at Toronto's Don Jail for the rape and murder of 13-year-old Linda Lampkin on January the 18th, 1956. Fitton was pronounced dead at 12:25 a.m. A crowd of 200 stood outside the jail as his death notice was tacked to the front door at 12:32 a.m. On the evening of January 18th, Fitton, who drove a mail truck, picked up Linda, with whom he was acquainted, and took her for a ride. At 11:05 p.m., her dead body was found on Commissioner Street near Lake Ontario. Linda had been raped, her clothes disheveled, and she had been violently strangled with her own silk scarf. She had been a virgin at the time of her murder. Linda was seen talking to the driver of a mail truck at 8:45 p.m., and later a red mail truck had been seen parked near where the body was found. On the evening of the murder, Fitton returned to the trucking garage at 10:57 p.m., although his usual quitting time was between 9:30 and 10. When confronted by police the following day, Fitton almost fainted. Searching his mail truck, police found 2 apples, a bobby pin, and a tube of lipstick. Lipstick later identified as belonging to Linda. Fitton was taken to police headquarters for questioning, and later that afternoon made the following incriminating statement. Quote, "I was just thinking of my wife and kids. I didn't mean to do it. She started kibitzing around, and I grabbed her by the scarf, and she didn't breathe no more." End of quote. The admissibility of this statement was the basis of an appeal for a new trial that was eventually rejected by the Supreme Court. Fitton claimed that the intercourse with a 13-year-old girl was voluntary, and that the death, which happened later, was an accident. The physical evidence, by the way, did not support Fitton's story. My primary source for today's video was the Supreme Court review of the case, the Queen v. Fitton, 1956, which outlines both the facts of the case and the reasons why the judges rejected Fitton's appeal for a new trial. Canadian criminologist Carolyn has just published a book on the case entitled Fatal Confession: A Girl's Murder, a Man's Execution, and the Fitton Case. But, alas, I have not been able to get my hands on it. Yet. But when I do, I shall review it. As always, all other sources are listed in the description. If you enjoyed today's video, please drop a like, comment, and consider subscribing to The Gallows, where we explore Canadian murder cases which ended on the scaffold. And remember, if you're born to hang, you'll never be shot. Cheers.